So you're trying to pick your FM21 team, but you want to know how much money they've got to spend, right? I've got a video for you here. Here is every Premier League team's transfer budget in not only the first season, but the second season too, to help you make the best choice. And so on the screen, what you can see here is the finances page for Arsenal. And then we're going to go through each team so that you can see everybody in the Premier League, their budget. So I've loaded a manager in for each of these teams just so we can have a proper look at the finances before you go into the game. Obviously, you can get a little snapshot of the team's finances in as you're starting to choose a manager, but actually here, hopefully you get a little bit more detail to make a more informed decision about who you want to go and manage, especially now in the beta where you kind of want to have a bit of fun and sign some players. So, starting with Arsenal, which is the team you do see here, they have 4.5 million to spend in the first transfer window. And what is quite nice about FM21 is actually they give you a next season's minimum guaranteed budget, which is quite nice. You can plan ahead a lot better with that sort of information. They have £46.5 million to spend next year. So if you can get through that first season with the small £4.5 million left, you've got a bit of money to spend next year, which is quite nice, especially in these sort of strange times where finances are a little bit up in the air in real life and as they are in game 2 this year. Next up is Aston Villa, and here you see Aston Villa have £2.5 million left to spend this year, £23.4 million to spend next year. Brighton, next, they have £10 million to spend, £23.4 million to spend next year. If you're interested in any of these teams, by the way, make sure you do pause the video and have a proper look at the team that you want to go into. I don't want to just read you a load of figures for this vid, but, you know, if you want to actually look a bit closer, pause the video, have a little look into their finances. That's kind of what the point of the video is. Next up, we've got Burnley. Burnley have got £10.5 million to spend, and then £30 million next year, which is quite good for Burnley, actually. They do have a smaller wage budget, though, I am noticing there, than some of the other teams. Next is Chelsea. Now, you might think Roman Abramovich, he might spend a bit of money, but no. He's got £12 million left to spend for you if you take over at Chelsea. That's probably because they've spent so much on players like Kai Havertz and Timo Werner. By the way, Chelsea, that's my beta save. Episode 1 is up, so go and check that out because that's who I'm going to be managing for these couple of weeks before the main game launches, the full game. So, yeah, I'm going to be trying to sign some players with my £12 million. That'll be fun. Next is Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace have £22 million left to spend this year, which is quite nice, actually. One of the bigger budgets so far. £26 million to spend in the second season. Next is Everton, only £2.5 million for them. They have made a few signings. Alan, they've brought in James Rodriguez, that type of thing. I think that's probably where the budget's gone here. £29 million next year for them. Fulham, £4.3 million to spend, not too much there. £21 million next year, and they've got, you see here, the wage budget is actually bigger than Burnley's, as we were talking about before. £1.2 million per week to spend on their wage budget. Next is Leeds, newly promoted to the Premier League, of course. They've got £3 million to spend, £23 million to spend next year. Leicester, just £1 million left to spend for them. Their overall balance, though, is looking quite healthy at £33 million in the club. £33 million is what the budget is for next year as well. Their wage budget over the £2 million mark there. Liverpool next, they have got £18 million left to spend. You could probably bring in 1 or 2 wonder kids with that sort of money. I feel like you could invest in the youth perhaps with that sort of money. Not too bad. And next season's budget is £54 million. So that's quite a bit of money next year once you get to that part. Manchester City, they've got £17 million still to spend this year after spending a bit of money on the likes of Ake and Ferran Torres and a few other players too. £103 million next year, so there is big money if you take over Manchester City. That should come as a shock to absolutely nobody, though. Manchester United, now, this is the good one. This is a good bit of information to get. They've got £52 million still to spend this summer. As soon as you start the game, you can go and spend proper money at Manchester United. Next year, they've got £55 million to spend, so big money to be spent if you want to take over at Manchester United. Newcastle, £16 million still to spend this year, £26 million next year. Sheffield United, just £1 million. That's a sorry state. They've not started well IRL either, have they, in the Premier League? £1 million to spend to try and do better than them. Next season, 27 though, so maybe a few shoots of green with that. But yeah, £1 million, that's going to be tough. That if you want to challenge, Sheffield United might be your save this year. On to Southampton, they've got £1.5 million, not too much more, 25 million next year. Tottenham, 13 mil still to spend. They've brought in Gareth Bale, of course. A few interesting players to manage here. I like the idea of that Kane, Son, Bale thing going on in FM21 here. That could be fun. But 13 million, I suppose you could complement it slightly with that sort of money. £41 million next year to spend. West Brom, just the £1 million. I think very similar to Sheffield United. This might be a challenge. £1 million, £21 million next year. Not going to be able to do too much with that. It's going to be about avoiding relegation, I do believe. West Ham, £10 million still to spend if you're going to take over from Moisey. £26 million next year if you wanted to take over at West Ham. And then finally, Wolves still have £17 million to spend, £17.5 million, which is quite nice actually, and quite a fun team to use, I think, Wolves. The likes of Adama Traore. You know, he's got all that physical ability, and then you've got Raul Jimenez. There's a few interesting players, I think, at Wolves. I was tempted to do them as the beta save, but in the end, we've gone with Chelsea. They've got £31 million to spend next year. Hopefully that little rundown of those budgets is helpful. And there you go then, there are the 20 budgets of the Premier League teams. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of insider knowledge before you have to go and load in and check all the teams yourself. You've watched a little video there that hopefully helps you out before you go and make that choice of which team you do want to manage, so you can go and get those Wonder Kids. Speaking of Wonder Kids, there will be some Wonder Kid spotlight videos trying to pick out some gems for you guys. As you go about your FM21 saves, keep an eye on the channel for that. And if you're not subscribed, make sure you do subscribe, because then you get notified, you know, turn the bell on as well and all that stuff. Leave me some comments as well for today's video. Looking at those budgets, who do you think makes for an interesting proposition about who you want to go and manage in FM21 based on how much money they've got to spend? Let me know down below in the comments, and also give the video a like as well, because it helps me out and I'd be very, very appreciative. That will be it though for today's video. Before I do go, just a reminder, I do live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/ClaytsFM every Wednesday, Friday and Sunday. And, you know, come in live and we'll be playing through a Chelsea beta save. There's also some videos of that on the channel too. But that's it for today. Thank you very much for watching. Have a lovely rest of your day. See you later. Bye-bye.